Hello everyone, welcome to Operation Spin Kick. Okay, you might be asking yourself, Tommy, what is the mission in Operation Spin Kick? What are you trying to achieve here? Well, to best explain what I want to do, I think a video game is a good example. There are some kind of video games where you start off, you got all the powers, everything's awesome, you're super rad, you're super cool. Then all of a sudden, some bullshit happens, you lose all of your powers, you lose all of your abilities, and now throughout the game, it's almost about going back around and getting all that stuff again. Why does that matter? Why do I say that? Well, because a while back, some bullshit happened to me, and I lost all my powers. I lost all my martial arts moves, I lost all my fitness training, I lost all kinds of stuff. And you might be wondering, what is the bullshit? Well, the bullshit was FAI, femoral anterior impingement. And what happened was I had to go through 2 surgeries, 6 months apart. They did the first one, I had to recover for 6 months. Then they did the second one, I had to recover for 6 months. I was not allowed to do physical therapy within that time frame. I am just now starting to get into physical therapy, and I have devised a program to get all of my moves back. To show you all the moves that I'm trying to get back, I'm going to bring you on to my website, tommysdojo.com, so you can see what the goal is here. Okay, so here we have my website, tommysdojo.com. And what this website actually is an encyclopedia of my old body before my surgeries. Before I had my surgery, I recorded everything I know about martial arts and movement in general. And I put them into little video clips, and I preserved them in this website so that I could always kind of go back and remember what I used to be like, remember all my moves. I was actually a pretty good martial artist. You can check out my resume and like the testimonials if you want to learn more about that. The problem with this website is that look at how bad some of the video quality is here. Yeah, I have my move preserved, but the lighting's all off, the camera isn't very good. So the mission of Operation Spin Kick is to go through all of these moves again, get my hips feeling good enough to get all these moves back again, even the most advanced spin kicks that I can throw, things like this one here, and be able to film them again in beautiful high-definition video. So, this is not going to be easy. This is going to take a lot of work. This is going to take discipline. This is going to take commitment. This is going to take effort. And I'm far off from where I want to be. I haven't really done this stuff in like a year. Yeah, I've dabbled. I've kind of hit the bag a little bit. I've kind of rolled with some friends. But I haven't had like real structured discipline training in about a year. I have, however, planned out the exact routine that I believe will get me to where I want to be, back kicking ass again, and I've had about a year to think about it. And what I have for you is a routine that only needs one thing: the gymnastics ring. This is the most simple and most wise exercise tool man has ever devised. All I will need in the beginning phases of this program is one gymnastics ring. And I'm going to take you through that program. If anyone is dealing with FAI, especially bilateral FAI surgery, where you're really wanting to come back and you're really wanting to get in, I think all you need is this one ring, and I'm going to give you the whole routine right now. So the first phase of this training protocol, and I'll be updating the phases as we go along, is to restore general human movement. Techniques like 360-degree spin kicks, tornado kicks, spinning back kicks, those are very specific movements. They're very specific to one art. But in order to do those things safely, you have to have a good layer of general human movement. I do not have that good layer of general human movement. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to develop that good layer of general human movement using this guy right here. Now, you might be asking yourself, Tommy, What is your particular fascination with the gymnastics ring? Why are you so big on this? And you know what? It's a good question. It all goes back to my time training with the ballerinas at UMass Amherst. I developed a particular interest in the way that they were training their legs. I mean, ballerinas have some of the most strong, dexterous, versatile, flexible legs in the entire world. And as a martial artist, I would love to have legs like that, even half of what they got. So I noticed that a lot of their training for their legs stems from the use of a ballet bar. That was the heart of a lot of ballet training. And the reason I am so big on the rings is because I believe the rings allow you to do everything that a ballet bar does, everything that a pull-up bar does, and much, much more, all with one simple tool. Let's take a look at what I mean by that. Okay, now let's take a look at the actual moves that we will be using on the ballet bar. This Phase 1 training, developing general human movement, is broken down into 4 categories. The first of which being suspended mobility training. The point of this is to get the nervous system used to having the leg at the top height position while standing on one leg. This will make it easier to move into that position later on. I will now show you what I mean by this, yeah? Okay, so here we have our gymnastics ring. First of all, it's freaking awesome. Second of all, it can easily be adjusted in height, and I can use it to train all different heights of leg. It allows 360 degrees of motion, unlike a ballet bar, and it offers a little bit of instability, but not too much. This allows for excellent training. Okay, I will now begin suspended mobility training with the hip flexion exercise you see here. Notice, my knee is bent up towards my chest, and what I'm going to do is bring my chest down towards my knee. That allows a certain release. It practices the hinging movement and gets my body used to there not being a bone in there anymore. And just by the way, I like to use the drill in between these sets as necessary. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I'll get a little twinge, something was sore from the day before, and by using this drill, I just kind of maintain my looseness, my loosey-goosiness, so that I'm never in too much pain when I'm doing this. So this one here is to practice external rotation, something I'm severely lacking in. So I put my leg on the bar and I try to turn my knee out. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring my chest down and then bring it back up. You'll even notice, see, I got a little bit more motion there because I brought my chest down. Adding movement to a stretch is really good. It helps its effectiveness. Since my hamstrings are absolutely awful, I have 2 variations of hamstring stretches. One is a straight-legged ring raise, just like I showed you before. And with this one, I'm bringing my chest down towards my knee. You can see how visibly painful it is on my face. Let's see if I do it again. Oh, look at that face. Very painful for me. The second version is a kind of split. What I'm doing is I'm going forward as much as I can and coming back. Really gets in the hamstring and in addition the hip flexor. Good one for you guys. So speaking of splits, this is another tremendous exercise and I am very tight in this groin area. When I go out, I'm working on the abduction. When I come in, I'm working on the adduction. So when I do this exercise, I get a double bang for my hip buck. Okay, next one in suspended mobility training is the windshield wiper here. This one allows me to work a little bit more on external rotation as well as internal rotation. My internal and external rotation are both awful, and this is a tremendous exercise that I can use to get them both at once. So I'm a big fan of this one. Now, a large part of my day is dedicated to sitting and working on certain things, and my hip flexors get terribly, terribly tight. So this here is a good way to work on hip extension. I squeeze my butt here, and if I really want to get it, look, I'm off balance. If I really want to get it in deep, I can bend my knee and come back up. Bend my knee, kick my leg back, and come back up. Really gets a nice hip flexor stretch. Wee. Okay, so we've now covered suspended mobility training. Now we're going to cover isolated strength training. We are going to be using the ring once again as a source of support because it provides some support, but just a little bit of instability. This will force my core to work much more. The idea behind going from suspended mobility to isolated strength training is fairly simple. Every exercise that you saw for suspended mobility will have its counterpart in isolated strength training. And I will now show you what I mean. Okay, back to me doing exercises. First one we have is a knee lift. Hip flexion, which is really bringing that knee up to the chest, is the one that was the most affected by my FAI. I could not move my leg like at all trying to bring it up. So this is one I'm terrible at. As you can see by my face, this is a lot of effort for me. And this is one that I'm really going to practice and get down. Okay, next we're going to do a windshield wiper. And this is to develop the strength involved with internal and external rotation of the hip. Two things I am terrible with, two things I'm going to need if I want to be able to throw wicked spin kicks again. So, be spending a lot of time working that as well. Here's another thing I'm terrible at. This is the side leg lift to really work on hip abduction. This is something that I'm really going to need in order if I want to throw a nice roundhouse kick. You've got to have that muscle group really nice and strong. So this is one I also should spend a lot of time with. I should spend a lot of time on all of these, actually. Next up, we have got a straight leg lift. And like I said, my hamstrings are terrible, so my leg doesn't go up too high. But this one is also super necessary for me to build up that strength that is needed to lift your leg up straight in the air, which is also super duper essential, important for kicks. So this is one that is good for me too, man. This is a hip extension exercise. And my glutes are super duper weak right now. So this is one that's really going to help to build up those butt muscles as well as work the hip extension that I need. Okay, so we've covered suspended mobility training and we've covered isolated strength training. The third phase of this training protocol is movement patterns. And it's not like we go one phase and the next over time. All these phases are happening simultaneously. I'll get to how that works at the end. Movement pattern training is about rehabbing the patterns that I'm going to need to use in my everyday life. Not just for training and exercising, but for everyday life, you should be able to do these things. Squat, deadlift, lunge, or split squat, some people call it, and a single leg deadlift. Those actually happen a lot in life, and you should preserve those. So we're going to be taking a look at how I do that on the rings. Okay, so we have the squat first. I'm really trying to keep everything here as perfect as I can because training good movement patterns here is going to be the very foundation for having good movement patterns, possibly for the rest of my life. So I'm going down, I'm keeping my back nice and straight. I'm trying to break the ring in half with my hands to get some extra torque that'll help set my lats and my shoulders in. And I'm just trying to stay at the bottom of the position for a good maybe 2-3 seconds, maybe more. Sometimes it just feels good to hang out there and come back up. This was an area that was really affected by me, and I need to work on this a lot. Next, we got lunges, split squats, whatever you want to call them. I use the ring just because my legs are super weak right now, and I need a little bit of help. I just go down until my knee just about touches, and then I come up. I'm not resting on the ground. I'm not taking a break there. I'm active the whole time. Just a little tap on the ground, then I come back up. Now here we've got hip hinges, and what hip hinges are going to be are the foundation of exercises like deadlifts. More than that, it's just, man, I need to be able to pick stuff up off the ground without arching my back like a cat. So this, I'm really focusing on pushing my hips back, keeping my shoulders locked and square, and just really trying to feel in my hamstrings and not my lower back. I feel everything in my lower back, and I'm sick of it. Next up here, we got a single leg deadlift, and you use these more than you think. You need to pick up something off the ground real quick. You don't break into a full-blown hip hinge. You kind of kick one leg back and reach down. The ring really helps me keep my hips square. That's important. If I compensate by rotating my hip out, well, then I'm not really going to get the true mobility training that I need. So this is a good one in order for me to really retrain these bad hips I got. Now, the fourth part of Operation Spin Kicks training protocol for phase 1 is core training. There's 3 core exercises that I'm going to be using. 1 to work anti-extension, 1 to work anti-lateral flexion, and 1 to work, what's the last one? Anti-rotation. Anti-extension is your body's ability not to have your lower back bend. Anti-lateral flexion is your body's ability not to bend side to side. Anti-rotation is your body's ability to fight a twisting force on it. I'm going to be showing you each exercise I use for each one of those things. Core training is important. Don't forget core training. Okay, for anti-extension, I don't even know what to call this one, but I make sure I keep my back nice and flat the whole time. Any bend in the lower back defeats the purpose of the exercise. Don't go out further than you can keep your lower back flat, and then I come back. Really working anti-extension. Next up, we have a single leg balance. This is actually going to work anti-lateral flexion. Your body's going to bend towards the side that the leg is up. Don't let it. Work that core. And finally, we have a single arm ring row. I love these because my body's going to want to twist because I don't have 2 sites of support. And I also get to work my back. So it's anti-rotation and a nice rowing exercise. Okay, so the final thing I should discuss when discussing Operation Spin Kick is the programming that will be used to do Operation Spin Kick. I have, besides my super dope ring-only rehab program, I have devised a revolutionary method in order to divide up the training throughout the week. I'm gonna do straight leg exercises on one day and bent leg exercises on the other. I know, it's groundbreaking, straight then bent. I will also be doing the core exercises, each anti-extension, anti-rotation, and anti-lateral flexion will be getting 2 days. So they'll be cycling through 1 day anti-extension, 1 day anti-rotation, and 1 day anti-lateral flexion. So throughout the week, there will be 3 straight leg workouts, 3 bent leg workouts, and 2 of each of the fundamental core activities. When it comes to sets and reps, I will be building up to 3 sets of 10 with all of the suspension exercises. Notice in the suspension exercises, all of them have an element of movement in there. So there'll be 3 sets of 10. I have to build up to it. 3 sets of 10 with all of the isolated strength exercises. So right now, depending on the exercise, none of my exercises are at 3 sets of 10. They all need a lot of work. And then finally, 5 sets of 10 for all of the fundamental movement pattern exercises. Just so you're on the same page as me, the lunge and the squat, I consider those bent leg exercises, and the deadlift and the single leg deadlift, I consider to be straight leg exercises. So that's how we're splitting it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be updating you as I go along. So I don't suspect it'll take me very long to get to 3 sets of 10. Basically, I don't think it'll take me very long to reach the goals that I've laid out for you there. So once I've done that, I will give you an update and I will give you the next phase of the training program. Remember, I'm going to be taking you guys all the way from right now to doing the most dopest, sickest spin kicks that are on my website. And maybe even some higher level ones. Maybe we're coming back better than ever. So until next time, I will see you around, and subscribe to this channel to get more stuff of this nature. Okay, goodbye.